Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Revolution Formula One for Division 2. Division 1 is later tonight. So we're here in Bahrain, ready for what is usually a exciting race around here. It is a great track for league racing. There's been plenty of good races here in RF1 in the past, in other leagues. Usually is quite close, and the drivers are now getting ready to head up qualifying. But let's talk about what's going on in today's race. We've got the championship leader, Five Crown, and his arrival, Bonge, but just 5 points behind Bonge is Halo, who hasn't won a race yet. But he was a really good P2 last race, which is certainly not bad. Looking at the track then, 3.363 miles, 15 corners, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. On top of 3 DRS zones, turns 1, 4 and 11 in the main action points. And certainly wouldn't expect turn 10 to be a place for plenty of dive bombs. Now, let's get ready for qualifying. Set up all of the details. There we go. The full qualifying today, we've got 16 drivers on the grid, which is good, but only one driver being knocked out here. Pretty decent for turnout for the amount of numbers we have signed up. But before I do start talking about anything to do with qualifying, I have been asked to promote something. RF1 Americas is starting up on what I believe is the 7th of January. So if you are from any of the Americas, north, south, east, west, then you can get yourself signed up. I believe they are 2:30 or 3:30 p.m. EST. So if you're interested in that, do give Ruxian a message in the Discord. Got that first driver's heading out for quali. I believe that was Nicholas. Okay, I was hearing that my mic volume was too low, so I just had to switch over microphones. Quality might be a little bit lower in my voice, but at least you can hear it better. So I just switched to the headset microphone rather than a separate one. So we're on board with Nicholas for his first flying lap of the night. And through turn 1 he did go a little bit deep. I think he locked up, missed the apex, but apart from that, got a pretty decent exit. Into turn 4, taking all of the curb on the entrance. Don't want to hit that curb on the entry, otherwise it will just completely unsettle the car and you'll most probably spin into this twisty S section. Be careful on the curves not to run too wide on exit. And here's another one where it's really easy to lock up, but there's plenty of time to be made up on exit. And now we're coming down to the tricky turn 10. Again, really easy to lock up, but plenty of time to be made if you manage to brake late enough, if you're brave enough. Another DRS zone as we head down the straight, coming up to turn 11, where again, as is with many of the corners, you want to take all of the entrance curb as Nicholas almost does. He didn't go quite as far wide as he could have done. Plenty of time to make up on exit. This is the tricky one. Don't want to touch the curb, but keep flat out. Taking a nice amount of curb there. Met the apex nicely. Teddy Ruxpin. So it's the first time with a 27.826. See what Nicholas can do compared to that through the final corner. It goes slightly wide, but apart from that, not too bad. Coming down the main straight, DRS activated, and it will be a 127.7, so 1/10, almost exactly 1/10 quicker than what Teddy Ruxpin could manage. And I've just seen a notification. I'll switch myself to Do Not Disturb and get rid of those. Sorry about that. Someone else on the lap, Paperstream, goes third fastest with a 30.9, decent amount off the pace there. Valkyrie goes third fastest instead with a 129.1. On board with 5 Crown, who's just gone through turn 1 on his flying lap. Couldn't quite see if it was tardy or not. Zombies and Apollo has just gone third fastest. No, Ruxian's just taken that off him. Very close times now, I think. Less than a tenth between Ruxian and Teddy, and 2 tenths between Ruxian and Apollo, so times are starting to fly in as Halo does a 150. He's obviously backed out of that lap. Still with 5 Crown as he goes return 10. Took a lot of curb, lots of curb as he will look to take the slipstream off Paperstream. Doesn't make much of a difference when the car ahead's going that much slower. He might have gained a few milliseconds as Kip goes 4th fastest with a 0.9. Nice and close to the curb. Again, you don't want to touch it. Many people have done it. In fact, everyone's done it. Everyone's touched that curb and sent themselves spinning around, as I think 5 has just gone purple in sector 2. He's got a decent amount of curb on that previous corner. He's not taken much entrance curb though, which I'm surprised about, considering it is the quicker way around the track. But DRS will be enabled, and he will come across the line to set at the fastest time, a 127.4. So 3 temps up on Nicholas. He's the current championship leader. Decent lap from 5 there. Zombies looking to improve. He's 5 temps up on his 28.5, looking like it might be a 28 flat for him. He's very, very low on ERS. It is a 28 flat. He goes 6th fastest, so everyone's safe at the moment. Like I said before, 16 drivers only, so only one person will be getting knocked out of this session. Paperstream 3 temps up through sector 1. He's obviously had a nightmare on his first lap, taking a decent line through there, making sure you don't lock up. And to turn 9 or turn 8, I'm not sure, coming through to turn 10. Plenty of time to meet up. Goes into first gear actually. I've never seen that before. Making good use of the engine braking, I guess. DRS open, coming to turn 11, taking some entrance curb. Slightly misses the apex, but gets on the throttle earlier to make up for it. He goes wider actually, does Paperstream through there. Turn 12, I believe that is. Yeah, he takes a wider line, playing it safe, making sure you're not touching the curb. He'll approach not the final corner, as there is a little kink if I ride on board. This little kink to the right is actually considered a corner, as that little kink proved to be pretty tricky for Paperstream as he spins. He was up on his time, I believe. Three whole attempts up just through sector 1 alone, so a shame for him. On board with Halo, who's definitely going to be improving on his lap. A 150.7, maybe he's obviously backed out. Coming round the penultimate corner. And then through the last corner, looks like he took that pretty decently. Until now, look to set a decent lap time. He goes P8 with a 128.2, 22-second improvement for him there. Go to Rabid Mirror, who is 3.5 seconds down on his time, so he's obviously made another mistake, as his first lap time was a 40.1. As who else have we got? I don't think there's anyone else on a lap for the moment, unless Sombez is pushing, which he is. So we'll ride on board with him. He'll be looking to improve on his P6 at the moment. He is 2 tips down in sector 1, but he's still got the chance to make it up. Zombo's now approaching the penultimate corner. Where you really want to brake early. It's you can brake later, make the corner, but you just lose it all again on the exit, which is kind of what you want to prioritise, as it is the corner before the long straight. He does back out. I think he was down on his time. He definitely was down on his time. Yeah, he's coming into the pits now. Let's see, I've got Rabbit, who's 3.5 seconds up on his time. His best at the moment being a 36.1. So obviously made a mistake or backed out his first time round. He's 7.8 seconds up. So looking like what could be a decent lap from Rabbit, approaching one of the last corners. You can take a little bit of curb there. It does unsettle the car, but it's not that big of a deal with the DRS open coming down the main straight. And he's to 127.7, putting in P4, very close to Ruxin, who's in P3. Wenheimer, I believe that's how you say it. He's on a lap. He is not set one currently, so he's sitting P14. Coming towards sector 3, see what his split time is. It doesn't give you a split time, so I'm not going to be able to see what progress. I can't predict a lap time, as it only gives you the total time. Taking a decent slipstream from, I believe that is a McLaren ahead of him of Ronin, the one and only McLaren on the grid today. Down the main straight now. He's going to be setting a 127.6, but some P2, 2 tenths off 5 Crown, who was still untouched at the top since his first flying lap. Bonge coming out the pits now. He is the championship contender to 5 Crown. He is 24 points off him at the moment. So just one DNF from 5 and a win from him would mean the championship lead. So 5 is not that comfortable up there at the moment. Halo, who I said before, he's sitting P3 in the championship, just 5 points off Bonge. Finished P2 last time round, and he's currently sitting in P10, so looking like he'll want to improve on that. Ride on board with TRC Ronin, who did a 28.2. I couldn't quite catch what that sector time was, but come to turn 11 now in the McLaren. See what kind of line he takes through here. Yeah, pretty much same as everyone else, playing it decently safe as he runs wide and invalidates his lap. 5 minutes left in the session though, so not the end of the world for him. Wiggers his steering wheel. I think he's got fuel, he's going to go again. Don't know if he's got the ERS though, yeah, he definitely has. So Ronin will look to try that again, but in the meantime we'll be riding on board with Lucas, who, wow, is he on a lap? It's definitely not on a quick one. Is Lucas. We'll skip past him, go to Bonge, took turn 1 visibly nicely there. Coming down the main straight with the back straight with DRS enabled. To turn 4, yeah, he takes all entrance curb as well. There's a touch wide, but that'll allow him to put the throttle on earlier. Through the S's, be careful with the curbs. So they will send you spinning, they're a bit unforgiving. Takes it quite nicely. Apparently purple sector 1, but he goes very wide at turn 8. Through the turn 10, brakes very late, as you should. Meets that quite nicely. He took that really well actually. With DRS enabled, approaching turn 11. See what kind of line he takes through there. They're all kind of taking the different amount of curbs. He takes a good amount. See what line he takes through here as well. He decides to go up nice and close to the curb. I think that is the quicker way, but the more dangerous way. Plenty of apex curb there. I think that's turn 13. Coming to the penultimate corner, you've got Ronin ahead of him, who is also about to settle up. So we'll just switch to him quickly. He's going to set a 127.6. He goes P2. Just beats Wenheimer as Bonge goes P2, steals that off him. And he'll go just a tenth slower than 5, who is still untouched. He set a really good banker at the beginning of this session. Looking further down, we've got Paper Stream 3 temps up. That will put him up a no, it won't put him up a position. So he needs more than that, just paper stream. But not much time left in the lap to get that. Through the last corner, the tiny little kink that can't really call it a corner, but he'll come across the line to set a 1:29.6. 5-10 improvement, but not even a position gained for him, so he's got some work to do. Nicholas believes that his lap's good enough, he retires from the session. So that most probably will be. It's hard to see, judging by the times right now, that many people will beat him. Lucas, the only person to not set a lap at the moment, he's in the dropout zone, the one and only car in the dropout zone. He needs to get a move on, as he has. If he invalidates this lap, he'll get one more shot if fuel permits. He really does need to get a move on. He needs to get a decent lap in. There's someone following him behind, but I think that's it for Paper Stream. Yeah, he's not pushing right now, unless he's got the fuel for another lap, which would be strange if he does. That'll be it for Paper Stream. But he is currently safe. Just. Lucas comes into turn one, goes very, very deep. Probably broke quite late there. Sector 1, probably not the best as 5 crowns left the session. Let's hope someone gives him an invite. Goes deep again, into turn 4, Lucas. Not looking the best from him, 28.5 in the first sector. Not quite sure what Paper Streams was, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as he approaches the end of the lap. But for now, it will be on board with Tado, who's coming towards the end of the lap. 5 crown does join again, but he is not currently pushing. No, his lights are flashing, so Tado will begin a flying lap. Or will he? No, he'll come into the pits. So that is qualifying over for Tado. He hopes that he will be not the one guy that gets knocked out from the session. Check back in on Lucas, who's apparently purple sector 2, which the track map is a bit dodgy when it tells you about purple sectors, but I wouldn't knock it off the cards. So he comes around the penultimate corner and into the kink. Goes, oh wow, he took quite a central line out of the last corner. That will slow him down a bit. He'll come across the line and he'll go P13, so he is safe. That does knock Paper Stream out, and he is in the pit. So Paper Stream is the one guy getting knocked out of quali, unfortunately, by 5 tenths to Valkyrie 420, who is 4 tenths up at the moment, so that gap will be bigger as 5 leaves the session again. So, okay, well, Valkyrie is invalidated, so check a fag out. As Puenheimer goes 1 tenth clear of 5 crown, who's currently not in the session. Good lap from him. Finally, 5 is knocked off the top step. He's been leading this whole session. Ooh, I just come on board with Ruxid and he spun. I believe that is, yeah, he spun on exit turn 11. Quite easy to do. Not sure if he was up on his time. Not like it matters. He is safely through. He spins again on the hot tyres. See if anyone else is on a lap. I believe Zombez was on a lap, but he backed out of it. As Lucas Fenn, is he pushing? I'll have a look at his lights at the back of the car. No, he's not. So yeah, that is it then. I think for lap times, Ruxian spun twice, and Lucas isn't pushing. So that's it for Q1. Paper Stream getting knocked out, unfortunately for him. And we'll move on to Q2, where it does get a bit important, as this time we will have 5 people getting knocked out, and this is the session where you decide what tyres you'll be starting on for the race. That is, if you finish in the top 10. Let's go through the results of that session. We've got Puenheimer, I believe that's how you say it, in P1. Just under 2 tenths clear of 5 crown, who led most of the session, followed by Bonge, Ronin, Nicholas, Ruxian, Rabid Mirror, Teddy Ruxpin, Kip, Apollo, Zombez, Halo, Lucas, Tado, Valkyrie, and then finally Paperstream, who will take no further part. An all American bottom two, unfortunately, but I haven't given you an update on the weather, but I'm assuming that you guys would know that it is going to be all dry. I mean, I don't know for sure. I haven't asked the drivers because it is Bahrain. Um, so I'd assume it's going to be all dry and clear. Already looking at the people who chose a medium: Zombez, Brenheimer, Rabid Mirror, Ronin, Kip, Valkyrie, Bonge, and Apollo, all of which have not come out yet, but they're sitting in the garage with the medium selected. Everyone else obviously on the softs. The alternate strategy is really, really, really powerful around here, so I'm assuming that's what those guys are going to be looking to do. And Alpine has just come out of the pits, probably Zombez. Um, he is on the mediums if it is him. And no, it is Kip, so Kip on the mediums as well. He has come out the pits. The delta gap between the two tyres, I believe it is quite high. It is over the 1 second mark, but it is worth it if you can manage to get into Q3 on the mediums, because you'll be just so fast towards the end of the race. Looking to pit between laps 17, 19. It is really a struggle on those latter stages of the first stint, but it is certainly possible. If you can keep within the train, it's a bonus as well. But yeah, I would hope to see a few alternate strategy runners, a few successful alternate strategy runners. It does keep it interesting. And with the 3 DRS zones across this track, it's super hard to put out the 1 second. You've got the DRS zone down the main straight, and straight away again on the run down to turn 4. So it doesn't really matter how good your turn 1 is. You're not putting a second in one corner, and the guy behind you will be hot on your heels. Then after that second DRS zone, you're down to the back straight, which connects turn 10 and 11 as Kip has gone off right at the end of his outlap, so that's going to destroy his lap, his first flying lap. So he will not be setting a competitive time. He's not even pushing, unsurprisingly. But yeah, going back to the DRS zones, if you do manage to get close or to putting a second, that will kind of all be destroyed as you run into the straight that connects turn 10 and 11, as guy behind will get DRS, and then once that's over, you only have a few more corners until you're back on the main straight. So really, really hard to pull a second on the car behind unless you have that massive tyre advantage, which the alternate strategy runners will not have at the beginning. So it's kind of vital for them just to keep with the pack. Run on board with someone who's actually flying Apollo on the mediums. Does a 28.4 in the first sector, not too bad. Gets a bit of understeer, as you'd probably expect. In the S section on mediums, Zombez has spun on his non-push lap. That probably distracted Apollo a little bit. He got a bit loose on the exit as well. Coming into turn 10, goes a touch wide, which isn't ideal. And he floored the throttle and exit, which is never going to work. On top of the low grip of the mediums compared to Sauce, and his lap time is not going to be quick, judging by that. Two half spins on his lap. But we'll continue to run on board with him. I believe that's Rabid Mirror. Yeah, they've got an AlphaTauri or Valkyrie. He's on an outlap, so he'll be starting his lap now. is the first person to set a lap time, 1:42.2. So he obviously wasn't pushing. Yeah, he was the one who spun out the last corner. Apollo, a 29.4 on the mediums. It's not awful. It's not an awful lap time on the mediums, especially if you account his half spins. His Teddy spin destroys that lap time by just under 7 tenths. A 28.7, a good lap on the mediums from him. As Zombez crosses the line as well with 16.2 seconds off. Teddy Ruxpin is Taddo goes quickest with a 28.4 on the softs, just 3 tenths quicker than Teddy Ruxpin. You'd expect a bit more if he is on the soft tyre. Riding on board with Valkyrie, goes a touch wide, that will unsettle the car on exit. He is on mediums, needs to be a good lap. You don't want to be doing too many laps on the mediums because it kind of destroys the whole point of the alternate strategy. Rabbit just beats Mr. Taddo on the mediums with a 28.392. As Valkyrie does exactly what everyone's done. He takes too much curb, he does miss the wall. Luckily for him, no damage done. But he is now kind of wasted his medium set, though. It would have taken a few more percentage from that spin, so he might be forced to start on the softs, which is suboptimal if you want to be quicker towards the end. I don't know about you, I'd rather be quicker towards the end of the race than the start, as that's where it matters. He's just about to ride on board with Ronin, but he shoots to the upside of the timetable. He does say get the lap times up. He sets a 1:28.5 on the mediums, just shy of Mr. Taddo, who does a 0.4. He's on the softs, remember though, so I don't think it was really the best lap from Taddo. You'd expect him to be a bit further up, considering the extra grip that he does have. Kind of all these first laps are starting to come in as Bonge does a 1:28.4, a high 28.4 on the mediums, just shy of Taddo, very close to Taddo's lap time, as Halo goes just behind him, 1/10 of Bonge with a 28.5. All these medium lap times now. I want more soft runners, because if everyone's on the mediums, it kind of destroys the point. But I'm wondering if anyone's going to try medium hard. It's the safer option. You won't have to worry really about tyre wear. You pit earlier, you get a bit of an undercut on everyone else, but you will be struggling on pace towards the end of the race. As I think 5 Crown, he's been struggling with connection issues. He's definitely not pushing. He hasn't set a lap time yet. He is on the mediums. Yeah, that's one thing to note though, the connection issues he's been having. If he has that during the race, he is the championship leader, remember. And I did say earlier, just one DNF and a win from Bonge would hand the championship lead to Bonge. By 1 point if he doesn't get the fastest lap, and by 2 if he does. So, hope 5 Crown can sort out the connection issues. He hasn't disconnected recently, as he'll start his second attempt. I don't know if he just made a mistake on his first attempt. He definitely didn't invalidate. Takes turn 1 quite nicely. Coming down into turn 4. Just clips the curb, which is not really ideal. Me personally, I don't like to touch it, as it unsettles the car a touch. Yeah, he's 14 seconds up in sector 1. He's obviously made a mistake on his first lap. He brakes really early into turn 8. Does look up slightly, but that's kind of expected. Into turn 10. Oh, he takes that quite nicely. He broke decently late and didn't lock up much. Good exit. Looking pretty tidy from 5 Crown at the moment, as he's approaching the end of sector 2. Keeps it tidy in the exit of 11. Really easy to spin, as Ruxian did in Q1. Takes that nicely. He's 16 seconds up on his best time at the moment, so definitely looking like a decent time. Ruxian on the softs does a 27.2, quite a lot quite clear of Ronin, Rabid, and notably Taddo, who's also on the softs. There's 5 Crown, sets a 128.9 from 5. Not bad, but not great, as he's P8 with 4 more people to set a lap, 2 of them being on the softs, as we're right on board with Nicholas, who is definitely not pushing. Is he going to restart? Is he going to try again? Or is he going to come into the pits? Yeah, Nicholas will be starting a lap. So it's a 1:45.9. So obviously wasn't pushing on that first time round. Nicholas. He spins and hits the wall. That is no visible damage, but he might have done a little bit. That's not ideal for starting on mediums, considering he's already attempted one lap. Yeah, he'll probably gain a percent or two just from that spin alone. Valkyrie goes P2. I was about to say how good of a lap that Ruxian did. He was in fact 1 second clear of the field, but Valkyrie goes just 3 tenths shy of him. Must have been quite a decent lap from Rux, considering the likes of the people he beat or destroyed. Bonge and Halo surprisingly further down. Bonge on the softs. Knowing him, he probably made a mistake. He is definitely quicker than that. As Pointheim, I think, is the out of the two people who hasn't set a lap, he's the only one on a lap. Approaching turn 11 on the medium tyre. Takes that quite nicely, nice and tidy on exit. It's nice and close, not as close as you can get, but nice and close to the curb. Played it a bit safe. Apparently purple in sector 2. Just misses the apex there of turn 13. Not sure if he is purple in sector 2. Apparently the track map is saying everyone is, so see what he does. Just slightly misses the apex again. And he goes P4, good luck from him. What was that, a 1:28.3 from Poenheimer. So not bad, he's only done the 1 lap on those mediums. As Ronin, he's going to come out again on the same set of tyres, the mediums, so he is confident he can beat that lap time, but remember, all the time he's out on track on them, he's adding tyre wear, which is not what you want to do. Top 10 populated by just 3 medium runners, so I'd be honest with you, I expected a few more people to at least have a go at the mediums. Ronin is the best out of them. He's sitting just P3 in the actual standings. Looking down into the cut-off zone, we've got 5 Crown in P10 on the soft tyre. No, he was on the medium tyre, I think, but now he's on the softs. So he did a 28.9, and below him we've got a 29.3, so a decently big gap between P10 and P11. Zombez, Apollo, Kip, Nicholas and Lucas. Lucas doesn't set a lap, but they all need to pick up the pace a little bit. Ronin will look to begin his second lap, second push lap on those medium tyres. I think it's a bit of an unnecessary risk. I don't really think he needed to go again, to be honest, on those mediums. I think that was a decent lap time. Even if more people come out on softs, I reckon he would have got through on it, but he's obviously not so confident. Takes a decent turn 1. Just can't know if it was good enough or not. We're going to wait until he comes to the end of the sector to see his split. The sector line is just there. He's only 2 milliseconds up, so pretty equal in sector 1, pretty consistent. No kind of lock-ups yet. I'm not sure if he's running ABS or not, as usually you do lock up in that corner. We'll probably find out into turn 10. Takes that quite... oh, never mind, he goes in a bit deep. I thought he was going to take that nicely, carried a bit too much speed. Not ideal, but you get a better exit at least to make up for it. Kip the Hippo is retired from the session. He is out of the top 10. I see no yellow flags. I think he's done that in the pits. He's obviously not confident as Ronin's backed out. So Ronnie either made a mistake just as I switched off him, or he's suddenly become confident that his current lap time's going to be enough. So we'll look to find someone else on a lap. Teddy Ruxpin just 8 milliseconds down. He's going to pick up a really nice slipstream off Lucas. Not teammates, but Lucas offering a bit of a helping hand. Get a bit of a speed boost down the straight will Teddy Ruxpin. Lucas, is he on the lap? Yeah, Lucas is on the lap, alright. So it's not like he has to get out of the way. Coming through turn 13. You want to hit that curb quite decently. Ooh, as Teddy Ruxpin goes wide, he invalidates, and that's it for his quality. So he's got to hope that two people don't beat him, otherwise he'll be out. Lucas ahead of him is on a lap. He'll be trying to beat him as Ruxian, did he? No, never mind, the checkered flag came out. I thought there was movement at the top, but Lucas goes P13 instead of Kit. So that means Lucas is out of quali, Kit retired, so he's out of quali. Nicholas retired. He never quite got a clean lap in, so he's starting out of character P15. Apollo was on a lap. He's spun, I presume. He's invalidated. He's hit one of the advertising boards, and that'll be quali over for him. And the checkered flag is out for Zombez. So that's it for the bottom 5. You have the people who won't be taking any further part. Teddy Ruxpin just made it into the top 10 on the mediums, I will add. Halo 2 temps down, up on his time, sorry. He is on the sauce. Not sure, can't remember what he set his first lap time on, so if it was on the mediums, he's got no reason to continue this lap. He'll come down around the penultimate corner. See what he can do. Will he back out? Yep, he will back out. He is confident. He must have set his first lap time on mediums then. P9, only just safe. Next personal lap is 5 counters, 2 temps up. He might go fastest. Just misses Ruxian by 2 100ths, I believe. So very, very close at the top 2. Really good lap from Rux. He was, for a few minutes, over a second quicker than the rest of the field. So really, really good performance from him. So as predicted, a few people try the alternate strategy. I think 3 of the medium runners, got through on into the top 10. So that will spice things up towards the end of the race if they can keep their nose clean for the first 17 laps. So there you go. There is your top 14. Ruxian MP1, followed by 5 Valkyrie. Ronin on the mediums, a second off P1. Prinheimer just behind him, just a tenth behind on mediums. Same for Red. Oh, never mind. There's way more people on mediums than I thought. Because I was looking at current tyre, not best tyre. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 medium runners in the top 10, and just 4 soft runners. As I said, as I thought before, Halo did set its first lap on the mediums, which is why he backed off towards the end. And now it's probably a good time to ask for your guys' quali predictions. Who do you think will be in the top 3? So someone's just come out the pits. I couldn't see who that was, but I do know one of the Aston Martins came out the pits. The only Aston Martin at the moment. So that will be Prenheimer. Bonge was the one ahead of him. So I'll just sort out all the details. There we go. So if Bonge stays where he are, he will be the first person to start a lap in Q3. Brando says someone will take pole. Couldn't agree more. I think you're probably right on that one. Someone will indeed take pole. As I forgot to fix this, my camera settings are different for the Williams, so that's why the onboard will look slightly different. I need to change that. You can't do it while spectating. Can't change camera settings, so I'm sorry for that, but it's not really that big of a deal. He will definitely be the first person to start a lap. Everyone obviously going to be on softs, as tyre choice doesn't matter anymore. That's been and gone in Q2. So the Williams driver coming down the main straight, DRS enabled, and we'll see what he can do. Slight lock up into turn 1, but that's what you'd expect, as it is a heavy braking zone. Meets the apex nicely, gets a really good exit. Taking a decent amount of curb into turn 4, doesn't take as much. Meets the apex, slightly misses it, but met it quite nicely. Means he can get on the power a bit earlier. Oh, he goes a touch wide in the S section there. That will lose him a bit of time to turn 8. Meets that quite nicely, doesn't have a big lock up as most people have had. Through now to turn 10, the hardest corner of them all. He takes that quite nicely actually, and he'll get a decent exit down the next DRS straight up to turn 11. Sparks flying out the back of him. So he meets the apex quite nicely. This is a decent lap from Bonch. Bit of a mistake in the S section, but that's about it. Through turn 13, takes the right amount of curb. He's definitely purple in sector 2. Only person to have made it that far. As I say, that Brenheimer I can see on the track map is not far behind him. Through the penultimate corner now, and then through the last one for Bonch. Back to where he started down the main straight, DRS enabled. He's going to set a 1:27.1. That's the first lap time of this Q3 session. Brenheimer will be next across the line. He's going to be setting a 1:27.2, just 1 temp shy of Bonch. Teddy Ruxpin goes behind them by 3 temps with a 27.5. Mercedes just behind them, but they were starting a lap. Rabid Mirror will be next to set a lap. Coming out of the last corner, DRS enabled. What can he do? He'll set a 1:26, excuse me, a 1:26.9. First 1:26 lap time of the night. So he goes 2 temps clear of Bonch. Next person looks like a red car. That'll be a Ferrari of 5 Crown, our current championship leader. He was second quickest in Q1, second quickest in Q2, and he's going to go 4th quickest at the moment in Q3. 27.4, 5 temps off the pace. Pretty close lap times so far. He was just 1 temp quicker of Teddy Ruxpin. Ronin goes P3 with a 27.1. Really close to Bonch, who also did a 0.1. Halo slots into P5 with a 27.2. Almost a 27.3. He goes about 10th quicker than 5 Crown. Next person was going to say it was going to be Ruxin, but he has invalidated. So no lap time for him. And Tado and Valkyrie, the other two not to set a lap, are both in the pits. So that's it for the first wave of Q3 lap times. All these people will dive into the pits, fresh set tyres, quick refuel, and they'll be on their way to compete for pole. Yeah, Ruxin doesn't have the fuel for another lap, so he'll come into the pits. He probably will have enough. Oh no, he's getting held, so he probably won't have enough time for 2 laps. So just the one as Mercedes teammate of Tado comes out the pits just ahead of him. Poor timing from the Mercedes crew. Everyone is now in the pits apart from Mr. Taddo, so he will definitely be the next person to set a lap time. He hasn't set one yet. Wenheimer coming out quite early, actually, for his second lap. Definitely won't be enough time for a third, so he's chosen to finish his quali as early as possible. That means the track won't be in its best state when he starts his lap, so he'll be on a bit of a back foot, but at least he probably won't have the issue of any sort of traffic or anything like that. Time definitely won't be an issue for him. We'll ride on board with Mr. Taddo coming down the main straight to start his lap. Into turn 1, an easy lock-up zone, but somewhere where you have to meet the apex nicely, as Taddo doesn't, but that kind of doesn't enable him to get a better exit. Coming down the next DRS straight up to turn 4, where you want to take absolutely no curb on the apex at all, and he does exactly that. Took that quite nicely. Didn't run as wide as you can on exit, so you'll lose a bit of time there, but decent amount of curb through the S section. Took that well into turn 8. As he goes really deep, but he'll get a better exit. Probably won't make up all the time lost though. Through turn 10 now, braking quite late as he does go deep. I've noticed a few people going really deep. Does enable you to get a better exit, but probably doesn't make up fully for the time lost. Through turn 11. Took that quite nicely, decent exit. A place where it's really easy to spin. Through turn 12, where you don't want to be touching the curb at all, as that will 100% send you spinning, as we've seen a couple of times so far in this quali session. Through the penultimate corner, and then into the not so corner looking final corner, and DRS enabled to come down straight across the line, so he stays where he was, P8 a 128.2, 7 tenths off Teddy Ruxpin, the guy ahead of him. So that'll be it for Taddo. In fact, he does not have time for another one. He won't have enough time to come back into the pits. I believe Wenheimer, no, who was it? 5 crowns on a lap at the moment. He won't be the next person to start a lap, but he's the earliest person I can find for us to look at. Championship leader, as I've said a couple of times. Looking to extend his lead of 24 points. He is down on his time, just under half temp down. So he'll need to claw that back in the next 2 sectors. Takes turn 8 really nicely, but the more apex you take in turn 8 means the worse of an exit you get. But a short straight, so not much track to lose time on. Locks up slightly to turn 10, but not really that bad. Gets a decent exit up the gears into turn 11. Braking halfway, about 75 metres, 70 metres. Take a decent amount of apex curb. Get a decent exit through turn 12 as he just almost hits the curb. He's 3 temps up. He's had a mega second sector, has 5. And that is most definitely purple, but at the moment it's probably only going to be enough for about P3, P2. He needs a really good last corner, see if he can challenge for pole position. Come around the last one. Takes that really nicely, and there's nothing more he can do apart from floor it. Coming across the line now. He does not go quickest. He 27 flat, only person in the 27 flats at the moment. He goes P2. Rabbit keeps his top spot. Rabbit is improving, but only by 3 milliseconds. He is in turn 8. It's Ruxian. Ruxian goes quickest by just under a tenth. So he's on provisional pole position, but Rabbit was improving, not by much, but he is still improving. Doesn't need much, in fact, but 3 milliseconds up through the first sector. He is now coming towards the latter stages of the second one. Have a look at his progress. Ruxian holds the top spot for now. I think Wenheimer is coming around the last one to start his lap, so probably be the next person we ride on board with. Bit squabbly on exit for Rabbit, through turn 13. Not ideal. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't looking at the delta time, so I have no idea what this is going to be. Whether it's going to be enough or not. Around the last corner, unsettled the car on the curb, but there's nothing more he can do. And he'll come across the line, and he does go quickest. At 26.7 times of ramping up, 2 temps quicker. He's on provisional pole. Ronin narrowly misses out on pole position. He goes P2 with another 0.7. Who else have we got? We've got Teddy Ruxpin, who hasn't validated, but he has got time to go again, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Halo is a 10th up on his time, That'll boost him up a couple of positions if it stays like this. Bonge is invalidated. That'll be it for Bonge. Disappointing for the championship contender. That yeah, he will not make the line. He will not get another go. So absolute maximum of P5 for him. As we'll come on board with Halo. He's a 10th up. He's going to swerve all the way to the right hand side of the track, getting a slipstream from Bonge. Getting probably a decent one, in fact, through the penultimate corner. Looking to get a decent exit through the last one. And that's it for what he can do coming down the main straight. He goes P5. One position ahead of Bonge. Now looking back to Brenheimer, who'll be next across the line. Tallow, in fact, was next across the line, but he did not improve. He stays P9. Valkyrie never got a lap in. So they will be P10 as Brenheimer goes P3. So he just sneaks in the top 3 ahead of Ruxian with a .8. And apart from Teddy Ruxpin, who was a 10th down, that will be it for qualifying, unless Ronin has anything to do with it. But no, he's finished all his laps. He comes into the pits. Teddy Ruxpin, he was a 10th down, so he had to have a mega last corner if he wants to claw anything back, which he doesn't. He actually, in fact, lost time. So that will be it for qualifying. Rabid Mirror 4013 will be your pole sitter, only just to Ronin, only by 2/100ths of a second. Really close at the top. So disappointing then. Looking further down the field for 5 Crown Championship leader, he could only manage P5. Halo in P6 and Bond in P7. That's the top 3 in the championship. Not in order, but that is the top 3. 5 Crown leader, followed by Halo in P3 and Bond in P2. So the championship protagonists, if you will, all starting next to each other. Will make it interesting. Can't quite remember. I know Halo and Bonge are definitely on the mediums. I'm not sure what 5 was on, whether he was on softs or not. We will find out in due course. So your top 10 will be Rabid on pole, followed by Ronin, Buenheimer, Ruxian, 5 Crown, Halo, Bonge, Teddy Ruxpin, Mr. Tado, and then Valkyrie, who never got a lap in. They were in the pits at the end of the session. I don't think they came out at all. I don't know if they were AFK or something like that. But pretty close grid spread. The top 7 being covered by just 4 attempts, which is not that much time around Bahrain. There's plenty of corners to make up for it. An American top 3, as Ruxian has just pointed out. There's 5 crowns left the session. Yeah, I was saying before he has connection issues and how that would affect him in the race, but and Bond just I think we might have had an issue. Yeah, Lucas has left the session. I don't know if there was a restart that I wasn't aware about, whether it's my issue or not. As everyone is now leaving. I think this is an issue at my end. We are starting the session. Yeah, okay. This is an issue at my end. Oh, okay. No, it's not. So damage is off. There is no damage. So there's been an issue when creating the session. So we'll be leaving and trying to restart that. Believe damage is supposed to be standard, and it's off. I was a bit confused in quali. I didn't really say anything because it wasn't the biggest crash, but there was a few times. I think it was Nicholas who hit the wall decently badly, if that's how you want to say it. And he sustained no damage. I didn't really point out at the time, but I was a bit confused. Yeah, Halo's just pointed out in chat, restart for damage, I would think. Which is correct. I have not got an invite to the session yet, so we'll see what happens there. I'll do this for a second time. I was asked to promote RF1 Americas. We just find out when that starts. So RF1 Americas starts on the 7th of January, I believe, at 2:30 EST, or 3:30, one of those two. Um, so if you are from any of the American countries or from the European ones, but you fancy staying up late, and you can sign up via Ruxian in the Discord channel. I have just got an invite, so we'll be getting underway hopefully shortly. They've obviously got to sort out the grid. I can only apologise for this. I think what I will do is, to be honest with you, I don't really have anything to fill this empty space. I will just leave it for a second, and I will wait for the lobby to get going again.
A pair of jeans, a shirt or two. We didn't pack as if we weren't going back. It doesn't matter if it's true. I've got a feeling love will give us what we lack. The world is waiting up. The world is waiting half a step beyond our door. Yeah. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights. Tomorrow feels a year away, like the seconds, the beginning and the end. But if in time it's yesterday, your picture's gonna bring it home to me again. The world is waiting up. The world is waiting half a step beyond our door. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights.
Formation lap underway. I did have some mic issues for some reason. It wasn't picking it up, but that's fixed now. It reset which microphone to choose. It was trying to pick up my old headset microphone, which isn't plugged in, so obviously nothing was gonna come out. Get all the details going. There we go. One big thing is actually setups. There's there's going to be at least one person who didn't put their setup on. I can guarantee it. There will be at least one, which I cannot wait for. I'll never be able to tell, but there's always going to be one. It's quite a big gap. I've just seen on the track map. There's quite a big gap between Rabid and Nicholas, who's for some reason at the back instead of Paper Stream. So Rabid's tyres are going to be interesting. I'll run them. Oh, okay. It's me that's been confused. I didn't realise that everyone in the top three was on mediums. So the next person behind all of them on a different tyre is Ruxian. So we need to keep an eye on him at the start. He'll be on the fresher rubber, and he's been looking pretty quick in quali. He went on provisional pole for a brief amount of time in Q3. He'll be taking his grid slot now. We will look for the game to give us a good camera angle, which it's not. There we go. So 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights on ahead of the drivers. And we are underway here in Bahrain. Looks like a pretty decent start for Rabbit. He retained his lead, running just behind him, and Heim behind them. As a 5 crown makes a pretty decent start. He's already up to P2. He sends it around the outside as Ruxian, as I said before, predicting a good start. He's trying to go around the outside of 5 crown right now, which he does. He's already up to P2 on those soft tyres. Ronin, not the best start. He's down 2 positions into P4. Tado's left the session. They're all scrobbling, I think, 3 wide at the back there for P6, P7, P8. There's Sombez and Halo almost going side by side for the S section, which you don't want to do. He's going to get a poor exit, and that's going to put Bonge right on the rear of him. He tries to go around the other side, the door gets shut on him, and that's never going to work. Sombez with an aggressive defence. We'll make our way back up as Ruxian's taking the lead. I just missed that, which I apologise for. Ruxian takes the lead on the soft tyres. He has such a massive grip advantage compared to the others at the moment. He won't have that later on, but for now, he will be fastest man on track, I presume. Further down the field, Ronin, yeah, like I said before, not the best start, down 2 positions. Same with Brenheimer, down 2 positions. Halo retained positions. Ombers made a good start, up 3. Bonge down 1, Teddy down 1. Nicholas up 4. He made the best start out of the lot. Worst start of the lot, I believe, was Mr. Tado, but he's left the session. He's down 5 places. Gap starting to form. The DRS train will be here in a few laps time, couple laps time. Looks like everyone apart from the bottom 2 are within a second of each other, so we'll have a DRS train from P1 down to P13. Ruxian not getting the gap that he kind of needs to put himself in the best position for this race. We've got battling behind of Bonge and Sombez. These guys have been going at it kind of all of lap 1, but Bonge finally does get ahead. He went down the inside. Sombez went for the switchback, didn't quite work. He'll be looking at turn 4, doesn't quite outbrake him. He will not get the best exit compared to Bonge, and I think Bonge has got that position sealed. The punishment for it though is he's now got a 1.5 second gap to the car ahead of him, so he will not have the DRS unless he can push hard. Made a bit of mistake there going deep. Buenheimer is on the cusp of DRS. He's on the medium tyres, as is running ahead of him. He does need to make sure we can keep that under. Through turn 11. Looks like he is managing that gap. Fruxian has finally got off, it's just as I say that, it dips below, but he's getting that gap that he needs, that he really, really dearly needs in order to manage this race. Yeah, 1.1 seconds it is now. We have got a yellow flag, I believe, for a spinner, and it's Nicholas. Nicholas has spun, exit turn 11 I believe that was. Mr. Tallow, the AI of Mr. Tallow goes past him. I think that probably is damage for him. As Rexian fastest lap of the race, 1.2 seconds clear, DRS now enabled, we are on lap 3. Rabamira using his overtake, trying to catch up to him as he almost does, but he is just half a tenth away, and that will put 5 Crown right on the back of him. Don't think this DRS zone is activated first time round. It is, never mind, that's a different track I'm thinking of. So he's going to look around the outside. He does not patient at all as 5 Crown gives him a nice squeeze into turn 4. They are side by side going into the S. I think 5 might have to give this one up, but all the time they battle, all the time they lose time to Ruxian, which is not what they want. Really, really good traction out of the S. 5 Crown gets. He's going to look round the outside of turn 8, making a bit of contact with Rabid, a bit squirrely on exit, and he's going to have to tuck behind, but he will get DRS. But they have lost about 5/10 of a second just through that one sector to Ruxian, and that puts Ronin right on the back of them as well. He's going to get a pretty decent view, but 5 Crown will get a better one. He's going to go round the outside of turn 11, and he is on the softs, I believe. It's 5. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. He's on softs, so he really needs to get this done. Still battling through turn 12 and turn 13. 5 goes a bit deep. He's going to go off track. He stays off track to avoid a warning. Don't blame him. And he does get the job done, but there a DRS zone coming up. Rabid will have it, and he's most probably going to get the move done. He's way too close. Sparks flying out the back of 5 Crown's car as he does lose it a bit on exit, and with DRS enabled I don't think there's too much he can do. He defends to the inside. They want not even going to get side by side, and he's going to get double overtaken. Disaster for our championship leader 5. 2 overtakes done on him in one straight. Oh, that was a really aggressive move over there from Rabid. Bit unnecessary if you ask me. Now Ronin's going to give him a 5 Crown squeeze down the straight into turn 4. Not really a car's width left, but hard racing. Ronin keeps ahead of Rabid, and I've just noticed Ruxian's down at P9. Ruxian has lost the lead. So while we were focusing on that battle, something's happened to Rux. And forgive me for missing that, because that's quite a big deal. Ruxian has lost the lead. So yeah, he's in P9. Yeah, forgive me for missing that. I didn't even realise that happened. Yeah, I don't even know when that happened, but Rux kind of lost all hopes of a podium. I mean, it's early in the race, but it's going to be hard to fight up from P9 now. He is on the faster tyre, but that will change when he pits. He's all over the back of Teddy Ruxpin at the moment, but we'll go further up the field of 5 Crowd, who is the lead soft front at the moment, but he's only in P3. So he's going to have a terrible time after the pit stops. He'll get a bit of an undercut, but towards the end of the race, these medium runners will be hot on his heels as Ronin gets a really poor exit out of the penultimate corner. Swerving on the straight is Rabid. Really aggressive driving style Rabid has shown so far. Yeah, he's trying to swipe Ronin a little bit. I don't think it was that bad. And now he's swerving on the straight to break the slipstream, but he probably lost more time than he gained doing that. Ronin gained a couple of attempts down the straight with DRS enabled. He's being really aggressive, he's Rabid. Really, really doesn't want the slipstream, as Ronin is pushing him through turn 4. Pushing him through turn 4. He got really close with the DRS, broke late too, I assume. These guys are battling fiercely. 5 Crown's going to be always right there. Went a bit wide. Rabid went a bit wide through the S, that compromises him. But more importantly, 5 Crown in trouble, I think. Unless he can get ahead of these two and build a gap of over a second, which is borderline impossible, considering the nature of this track. Plenty of corners, plenty of time to make up, but the DRS zones are just so close to each other. Just looking further into the midfield, you've got Halo pressuring Brenheimer, who was out of the 1 second gap to 5 Crown, so Halo kind of likely to make the move into turn 1, if not into turn 4. Yeah, probably a bit far back to make it into turn 1. You don't really need to be having the track position at this stage in the race. It's unnecessary as Lucas picks up a 3-second time penalty. Apollo got one earlier than him, he's in P10 on track. Definitely not after the penalties will be applied. To be honest with you, the leaders are battling. There's a three-way battle at the moment. DRS enabled Ronin to get right around the outside of Rabbit. He defended nicely. Rabbit keeps the position. And on lap 6, I would have just enabled telemetry to see this properly. On lap 6, Rabbit's lights are flashing. Ronin's not doing much better either. These guys are not managing their ERS like they should be. They've been draining it this whole time. 5 Crown's kind of the better off out of the three. Still doesn't have that much as you'd expect, but his softs are going to be not. I think it's approaching the crossover point, to be honest with you. Not many laps away from that. 5 Crown will not have his advantage for very long after this point. I'd say maybe 10 laps softs before they really are bad. Ronin trying to go around the outside of Rabbit. Aggressive defending from the AlphaTauri driver. He's choosing to keep track position over anything else, which, like I said before, doesn't really matter at this stage in the race, as there is so many DRS zones that overtake can be made at any point, last lap or now. Ronin really pushing him now through the penultimate corner. See what 5 Crown decides to do. Could see a double overtake considering the amount of ERS that 5 Crown has compared to Rabbit. Swerving on the straight, and I think it's getting a bit excessive now. Rabbit is making quite a lot of movements on the straight. Both of their lights flashing. 5 Crown just clips the back of Ronin. That'll be no damage. It was that minor. And we'll ride on board with the McLaren driver. And I'm not sure I agree with the swerving from Rabbit. It's a bit aggressive, but nothing we can do about it now. There's Ronin still pushing him through every part of the track. Inseparable are these three. Ronin looks down the inside, he sends it to turn 8. Kind of does a Daniel Kvyat type move this time. He's the one making a move on the AlphaTauri, but doesn't get that one done. And these guys, I don't really too sure why they're battling so hard. Unnecessary to do right now, but shows that they really do want the track position. Ronin is happy to tuck in behind into turn 11. 5 is just getting frustrated, I presume. Halo is now caught up to them, followed by Brenheimer, who's 9 tenths behind him. He has managed to get within the 1 second margin since I last checked up on them. As we have a nice train forming, as it's already formed, as Bahrain often delivers. Not much overtaking opportunity. More swerving on the straight as we've got 5 Crown into the pits on his softs. He's going to struggle now later, but Ronin was close enough on exit. He will sail past Rabbit, but Rabbit will have DRS. He fakes to the inside. Nothing doing into turn 1 for Rabbit, but he will now use his ERS all the way through the exit. Wow. He's almost on 0%. Ronin just adding the favour of swerving. These guys, lap 8, have almost got no ERS left. Look at Bonge. Bonge is doing it right. Bonge, 70% ERS. You know, he's not necessarily quick at this point in time. He hasn't really got the track position, but he'll be able to attack quite a lot now when he wants to. He'll be seeing the flashing lights from the others, and hopefully he'll be pushing a lot more than he is currently. He is not within the 1 second. As I say that, it's dead on 1 second. I don't know where's the detect. No, he wouldn't have got it. Detection point is too early, but he's certainly edging towards it, and even with the guys ahead having DRS, he is 9 tenths, just under a second, 8 tenths now behind them, so he should get DRS down the main straight, which is what he needs. Can't count out Bonge. He's in a pretty good position. We have a spinner. Halo spun, almost takes Bonge with him, as I was telling about how well he was doing, but I'm assuming he touched the curb. It was at turn 12. I'm assuming he touched the curb on the inside. That's kind of destroyed Halo's race. He is P3 in the championship, so he kind of needs any points that he can get. 5 points off Bonge is at the moment. and he's just been passed by Bonge, which promotes him up into the podium positions, 2.1 seconds away from the leaders, who have kind of checked out a little bit. He needs to get a move on, does Bonge, if he wants to challenge later on in the race. 5 Crown, remember, who did just pit, making a move on Paper Stream. Paper Stream on the hards. I'm not sure, I'm assuming he started on them unless he made an early pit stop. But, 5 is an entire pit stop ahead of him now, so Paper Stream not having the best of races so far. So I think 5, once the pit stops, once the medium runners have their pit stops with a slow Alpine of Zombez, that's going to hinder 5 Crown a little bit as he makes his way around the outside. But yeah, once the medium runners do pit, 5 will comfortably have the lead, but they'll just keep coming back at him on the fresh soft tyres. It is lap 9, so it's quite a while away now from the pit stops. As Teddy Ruxpin on the back of Kip. Kip 4.1 seconds away from the guys ahead of him, so he's not really in contention for a podium at the moment. Teddy Ruxpin giving him a good amount of pressure, using ERS down the back straight to get him as close as he possibly can to the back of the Alpine for the main straight, DRS enabled. And seeing Ronin at the beginning, at the front of the field, he was for a brief moment above a second, but he wasn't at the detection point. Rabbit just holding on to the gap through the middle sector. I think Ronin definitely is the fastest man on track. Ruxin has set the fastest lap. I'm assuming Ronin's lap times aren't going to be that far off. Remember, Ruxin probably has just pitted. He was a soft runner and he was leading until he had the incident, which I didn't catch. Bonge is getting a touch closer. He's gained about 2 tenths since I last checked on him. So, really, really good pace from Bonge at the moment. He's got a good amount of ERS. He's done a good job at saving it compared to the others. He has got a lapped Nicholas, I believe that would be. Yeah, and Nicholas, who is lapped behind him, that's going to be frustrating for him, as if he does get past Bonge, he'll just get blue flags and he'll have to let him past again. And I'm assuming Bonge is not willing to slow down at the moment, which he doesn't have to do. Almost a full tank of ERS Nicholas has got. This is going to be interesting to see what Nicholas does, because if he does try and go past Bonge, that's going to be quite distracting for him. He's using his overtake, so he's going to get past him, but the blue flags will just come out straight away. We've got a decent view of the steering wheel, which we no longer have, but blue flags will be out straight away for Nicholas, and if he doesn't abide by them, he'll just get a 5-second penalty, I think it is. So, interesting, but what that does give is it gives Bonge the DRS. He has lost time down the main straight, as you'd expect. As Rabbit, I think he did have DRS down the main straight. He doesn't anymore. He is now 1.3 seconds behind. This puts Ron in a really good position, considering he is on the alternate strategy. Got some squabbling in the midfield. Three-way battle for 6th place between Teddy Ruxpin, Apollo, and Kip. They were squabbling through turn 4. I think Apollo got a bit twitchy on the exit of the S section. He stays ahead of Teddy for now. But he will be in trouble to Teddy, as Apollo without the DRS. No, I think doing it to turn 11 probably not the best overtaking spot, as you will just lose time trying to get ahead of the car that is ahead of you. Oh, we got a spinner. I literally, as I was going up through the grid, Apollo spun. That hands 7th place to Teddy Ruxpin, and it's one less car that 5 Crown's got to worry about. He has pitted. He will be comfortably leading once the pit stops start. Rabid Mirror's coming to the pits. He will most probably be going on the hards. Let's have a look. Yeah, so Rabid has opted for what the strategy that the game tells you is quickest. He's going medium hard. He'll have no trouble about tyre wear, but he'll have trouble about pace towards the end. He might get a nice undercut on running, so he'll have track position, but he certainly won't be very quick, I don't believe. As 5 Crown, yeah, as expected, has gone ahead of him by a decent margin. He's got the undercut done, but 5 Crown, will be struggling quite badly towards the end. He is on mediums. He pitted lap. When did he pit? I think he pitted lap 8 or 9 as he gets a bit twitchy on the end of turn 4. Zombez down in P13 has pitted. He's currently on the hards. Oh no, sorry, he has just pitted for the hards. I'm assuming he was on the softs before, on the mediums. As these two here, Nicholas has let Bonge back past, which he has to do, and the blue flags come out. And this is a frustrating experience when you are a lapped car and you're quicker than the car ahead of you, because you're just never going to be able to pull away from the blue flags, and you're just stuck. As Teleroxbin picks up a free second time penalty for track limits. Not ideal for him. Ronin has now got a 3.9 second lead to Bonge, so really, really good pace from Ronin, but Bonge has managed the TS well. We'll have to start using it soon when, in about, I would say, 4 laps time, the medium runners should start pitting for softs, if that's what they want to do. Interesting to see if Rabbit actually gets the undercut done on Ronin. If we have a look at the leader gap, Rabbit is moving up, so we'll wait for his gap to find. It's 23.1, so it will be close with Ronin and exit, I reckon, if the gap stays as it is now. Bonge picks up 3 temps actually on Ronin through this first part of the lap. Really, really good first sector from him. He has got the straight line speed advantage. Ronin is charging it up a little bit. He was almost on 0 earlier in the race. He's now on 30% ARS. But down the straights, Bonge is going to be deploying way more, even if he isn't using his overtake button. So he'll be catching 3.5 seconds the gap. I reckon the best bet for Bonge is he's out of undercut range, but if he can, he needs to probably pit 1 or 2 laps earlier than Ronin. He'll struggle towards the end, but he does need to get close one way or another, and I reckon an attempted undercut is the best way to do it. 21.8 seconds is the gap between 5 Crown and Ronin in the lead, so I'm pretty sure 5 will come out ahead. He has got a penalty, I've just realised. Bonge is coming into the pits. That's early if he's wanting the softs. Let's have a look. This is going to be crucial for the race. Is Bonge deciding to go onto the softs, and he's going to go for a massive undercut? That's not a very good count. He's on the softs, so Bonge is going to have to do a lot of laps. 15 or so laps, 14 or 15 laps on the. No, I can't do maths. Yeah, 15, 14 laps on the softs, which is a lot. He's going to struggle so much towards the end, but he does go deep into turn 1. But he will have track position. He will 100% have track position on Ronin. He's going to get a massive undercut, but Ronin will come back on him towards the end of the race. He's got 5 Crown and Rabbit fighting as Rabbit has caught up to 5. 5 did get the undercut on him. Rabbit is quicker at this point in time, but they did make a bit of contact. Not sure whose fault that was, if it was anyone's fault. 5 with the added grip on exit at the moment as Rabbit decides to back out for the DRS. Oh, he's in AI mode as they make contact again. Yeah. Rabbit was in AI mode going into that corner. He's no longer. 5 Crown deploying his ERS to try and get ahead. They're both kind of doing as bad as each other on the battery front. And all their time they're fighting, they're just ruining their chances of getting the undercut on Ronin. He's pulled about a second as Ronin on both of them. And that's going to be crucial. I think at the moment, if there isn't some sort of a freak safety car, Ronin is in a really good position, but last time I said that about a driver, it was 5 Crown, and he locked up going into Turn 1 in Azerbaijan. So anything can happen, and mistakes can happen. As Bonge is going to make the move on the both of them, it seems, as he's got the massive ERS advantage now. He's going to go round the outside of Rabbit. I'm assuming Rabbit's going to give him a good old squeeze. No, he doesn't. He goes wide on the hard tyre. Bonge on the softs, remember. He now needs to put away like crazy. I'm going to put it on interval so we can check on the gap. I'm assuming Bonge is going to be able to do that as they're going side by side. Is Rabbit in 5 into turn 4. 5 gets the move done. Rabbit is not going to give up though as he tries to pressurise him into the S section. Has to back off for now as 2 into 1 does not go. Has a look down the inside, but yeah, just too far back. Both of them clobber the curb of turn 8. That's not really the ideal line. And Bonge has already pulled 1.8 seconds. He's so fast on the softs. But he's got to be careful as his pace is only going to get worse. Need to note that he pitted lap 14. I want to make a mental note of that. And if I remember, lap 14 is when Bonge pitted. As Rabbit is coming back at 5. Side by side into turn 11. Rabbit with the inside line got the advantage through turn 12. They are going to go side by side. Really careful, guys, as touching the curb on the inside will just send you spinning and probably take both of you out. 5 will be in trouble down the main straight. These guys have been stuck like glue and they're just losing time all the time. As 5 Crown lets him past. 5 Crown lets Rabbit pass for the DRS. I don't know if it worked. I think he did it too late. Yeah, he did it too late. 5 Crown tried to pull off a master stroke and it failed. He's now lost the position to Ruxian. Ruxian's probably going to get both. But his lights are flashing, as are Rabbit's, and 5 Crown tried to let Rabbit pass for the DRS. He did it way too late. And now he's lost 2 positions. Ruxian gets ahead of them both, but he will struggle to keep that position as we head to turn 4. But didn't get DRS. Rabbit didn't get DRS for some reason. So he will not be able to make a move. 19.6 seconds is the gap between Ronin and Bonge, so definitely an undercut has worked, but he's going to struggle so much. I'm really shocked, to be honest with you, that Bonge has chosen this strategy. He had pace, he was quicker than Ronin, and obviously he's decided that doing some sort of massive undercut is what he needs to do. He obviously believes that when his tyres are going to be about 70% towards the end of the race, if not more, he'll be in puncture territory that he can defend. But yeah, he was quicker than Ronin. Not by much, but he was quicker. He had about a 3.5 second gap. I knew that he had to go for the undercut if he wanted to kind of be in proper contention for the win, but I didn't really mean to say that he needs to do a 3 or 4 lap undercut as Ronin, yeah, lap 17 comes into the pits. That's kind of the earliest to be safe. Bonge coming round the last corner now is going to be close, but he would definitely get ahead. Will Bonge? Or will he? Yes, he will. So Bonge gets ahead. Bonge takes the lead. That is track position. Bonge now takes the lead. Ruxian will not get ahead of Ronin. So now Ronin, on the soft tyre, is kind of in the best position to win this race. He's got a 4.3 second gap to catch. 4.4 second gap to catch. When Bonge pitted, it was 3.5. So Bonge has got about a 7 second undercut on Ronin, which is huge. That just kind of goes to show the advantage that the soft tyres have. 7 second undercut is what it's worth over a couple of laps, over a few laps. But now Ronin is going to be so much faster. He's got a 3-4 lap tyre advantage at the moment, which doesn't mean a great amount now. He'll definitely be quicker, but towards the end of the race, he is going to have so much more grip than Bonge. But to be honest with you, I knew the gap was going to be a decent size, but I didn't think it'd be that big, so I wouldn't count out Bonge to hang on here. I think the only thing stopping him now would kind of be a puncture, which is definitely possible, considering now is kind of when you're supposed to pit for the softs. So yeah, Bonge is going to have to manage those tyres, kind of stay off the curbs, turning the steering with the least amount possible. On board with Rabbit, coming through the penultimate corner into the last one, and he'll have the DRS. Probably too big of a gap to get the move done. He isn't using his overtake button. Ruxian's lights are flashing. He does not have much ERS at all. He will catch. Oh, as he backs out, yeah, that's fair enough from Rabbit. You know, there's no really much reason to make the move as Ruxian goes a touch deep, but he'll get a better exit. He was on the medium tyres, remember. 5 Crown on the back of that pack with a penalty. No overtake usage from Rabbit. He's perfectly happy to sit behind. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer now that catching Ronin and Bonge is a bit of an impossible task for Rux, Rabbit and 5, so they just got to kind of fight amongst themselves, make sure they're keeping it nice and tidy. As Rabbit took a really, really poor line through the S section. He lost so much speed, lost so much time, and he's almost out of a 1 second gap to Ruxy, and he really didn't take that very well. It put 5 Crown right on the back of him into turn 8. Heading down third, DRS zone of the lap into turn 11. Checking back in on the leaders, 3.5 seconds is the gap to between Bonj and Ronin. That is quite a lot less than when we last saw. So this tyre advantage really is benefiting Ronin at the moment. I think Bonj at the moment, if he just keeps it clean, if he doesn't fight Ronin that much, depending on what the pace is like, if he is much slower than Ronin, there's not much point in fighting it when he does catch up. He has got a massive gap to cars behind. So Bonj, he is up 6 positions, but I reckon my predicted finish for him is a P2, which means he is up 5 positions. So still won't be bad for Bonj if he doesn't manage to win this battle. But Ronin really is looking quick at the moment. 2.9 seconds is the gap, and there's still about 10 laps to go. 9 laps after this one. No, sorry, 10 laps after this one it will be. So plenty of time for Ronin. He's just got to buy this time. He's naturally going to have the pace advantage. Doesn't have to push that much at the moment. That's for later. Save your tyres, save the temperatures, save your fuel, save your ERS. I mean, look at it. He's on 73%. I mean, Bonj, yeah, he is on 90%, but just looking at the tyre advantage, all the cards are in Ronin's favour. Checking back on this little squabble for the final podium position. 5 Crown has pitted again. I believe, no, 5 Crown has just dropped back. While I was looking at the leaders, 5 Crown has definitely not pitted, but he's obviously had a little bit of a spin, bit of an incident, and he's down to P9. I missed that as well. Yeah, so he's kind of out that score for the podium, and it's just between Ruxin and Rabbit who were pushing each other through turn 1. Ruxin getting the better exit out the 2. His lights are flashing. He's only on 8% ERS compared to Rabbit's not much better P12s, and is AI controlling him? I think Rabbit. I have no way of telling. I think, yeah, Rabbit is under AI control. Rabbit's under AI control for some reason. Yeah, there you go, he definitely is. So Rabbit is dropping back quite a lot from Rux. So Rux has kind of got this podium secured if he can just manage his tyres towards the end. I mean, I'm not sure if Rabbit is back now, but 1.8 seconds the gap to Ronin. To Bonj from Ronin. Ronin will struggle towards the end as well. He will definitely be struggling, but nowhere near as much as Bonj. Bonj will be on about 70 to 80% by the end of the race in puncture territory. Still 1.9 seconds to gap 2 seconds. I think Bonj has just got. They're on equal ERS, pretty much, but I think Bonj must have deployed a bit down the main straight. But look at the tyre difference. 3 temps he gained running through that one corner. Now 2 temps. He's losing time on the straights. I don't know if it. I think it's Ronin might be running higher wings compared to Bonj, and I think Bonj is deploying. Yeah, Bonj is deploying on the straight, and Ronin isn't. So that'll explain that. See where everyone's locked up into turn 8. That always happens. This is where I think Ronin will be gaining the most time through turn 10. He'll have such better tyres. He'll brake later. Will have better minimum apex speed and will get a better exit. 1.5 seconds the gap. Yeah, he just loses it all in the straights. So he is approaching DRS, but we also are approaching the end of the race. So I'm sure Bonj is going to put up a fight. I'd be really interested to see what his tyre wear is right now. Unfortunately, that will not be possible. I mean, look, Bonge has been really aggressive with the ERS. He's so determined to make sure Rollin does not get the DRS. He deployed the entire back straight. Is he going to deploy even more? He is now. Oh my goodness. So, Bonge pits. Bonge is throwing away the lead. Bonge is coming into the pits. Another interesting strategy. He's going to drop down quite a few positions. He'll be very quick, but I'm not really too sure why he's done that. He pretty much had P2 at minimum in the bag. I know he would have been in puncture territory, but if he manages it, it would have been possible. He's now down to He's now down to P6. He'll be much quicker than Kip. So Bonge with half a tank of ERS, half a battery. He will be so fast now with these last 7 or 8 laps. And he's going to have to chop his way through the field. But, I mean, if you look at the gap between Brenheimer and Rabbit, it's 5 seconds. That's such a big amount of time to make up. And he's not even there yet. So, not too sure what Bonge is doing, to be honest. P2 would have given him a lot of points compared to 5 in the championship. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe, I mean, I knew that he would have been in puncture territory towards the end, but maybe his tyre wear was a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. Halo deploying on the straights should be an easy move for Bonge. I mean, just look at the tyre difference. It wasn't really fair for Halo as Bonge moves his way ahead of him. His next target being Brenheimer, and now on soft tyres, Ronin has got a 10.2 second gap to P2, which is Ruxian. So Ruxian's made a good comeback, I would admit. He was leading and he's dropped back down to P9, and now he's made his way back up to the podium positions in P2. So not a bad chop at all for Ruxian. Shame it couldn't have been more, as like I said, he was leading. He could have been challenging for the lead right now. On board with Bonge, he's going to be quite a lot quicker than Brenheim. I mean, look at how much he's just made up on that exit alone. He needs the DRS. He needs to kind of overtake Brenheimer into turn 11. He needs to get this done as soon as possible. I'm sensing a podium. I think if Bonge just puts in the performance of his life, the laps of his life, it is possible to catch Rabbit. Rabbit being on hards, so he'll have the tyre advantage quite massively. 4.2 seconds is the gap, so 8 tenths in 1 lap, which is enough, I believe. As Brenheimer gets all out of shape on exit, and that hands the position to Bonge, and he gets the position done. He gets the overtake done before turn 11, which is where I said he should have done it. And to be honest with you, he'll probably pull the 1 second gap by the time we reach the main straight. So now he's got 3.9 seconds to get ahead of Rabbit and Ruxian, who are squabbling over P2, so if they trip over themselves, that's good for Bonge. The more I think about it, the more I realise that it was kind of an impossible win for Bonge, so I reckon a P3 is on the cards. 3.3 seconds is the gap. P3 is definitely on the cards. He's getting so much. Fastest lap of the race with a 28.6. This could be good from Bonge. He's done a 2-stopper, which is uncommon in league races as they are 50%. And that usually is the slowest strategy, but if you had the gap that he had, if you had the pace that he had, it's definitely possible. Yeah, I've got a yellow flag into turn 1, I believe. Who was that? That was an Alpine. Could have been Kip. Was it Kip? It was Kip. Kip spun. Kip's had an accident in turn 1, costing him a position, I believe. Not sure if it did or not. I'd assume it did. 2 seconds is the gap now to Bonge. He's showing so much pace right now. He's so fast. We're right on board with him. 1.6 seconds, 1.5 seconds, 5 tenths in about 3 corners for Bonge. He's so much quicker than Ruxian and Rabbit. He loses about a tenth or 2 on the straight, but gains it back again on exit and more. He lost the time as he doesn't have DRS and Rabbit does. Oh, as Ruxian's gone wide. Ruxian's wide. That will hand DRS to Bonge, and that means Ruxian will lose P2. Rabbit takes that position. And this is really good now for Bond. He has pulled off a masterstroke with 4 laps to go. He is already on the back of the other 2 podium sitters, and he's running out of ERS. I mean, he's not in that much of a better boat than the others. Rabbit has got quite a lot, but I think the tyre advantage will make up for it. He'll get a bit of a switchback as Ruxian and Rabbit bang wheels. He'll get look at the exit compared to Rux. It's not really fair. He'll have slipstream, and is he going to get both in one corner? No, he backs off. He was in a bit of a sandwich as he aggressively pulls to the right. Hits Ruxian, straight up hits Ruxian. He does get the move done. Really good move. Not sure if I agree with the whole swipe of Rux, but I mean, look at the pace advantage just through that S alone. So I would expect Bonge to sail off into the distance. He will not catch Rodden, I think. I mean, that's over 2 seconds a lap, which is just not possible for many drivers on this game. To catch Rodden, he's definitely a quick driver, but what a strategy from Bonge. I didn't really think he could pull it off. I thought the gaps were too big, but the fresh soft's proving ideal for him. And I said this before, the more I think about it, the less I think the win would have been possible, and I could have been wrong on tyre wear. He might have had a lot more than I thought he did, so maybe this was his plan all along. Maybe Bonge was doing the 2-stopper all along. It did turn out to be quicker for him. Definitely not quicker than lead. I mean, he is catching quite a lot to run in, but it just won't be enough as we hit lap 26. Not long to go now for Ronan. He's got a good amount of battery and a good amount of grip. He will be struggling towards the end, the last couple of laps, which we are approaching. He'll probably be struggling now, but he's still pulling away from Bonge, to be honest. I think that's mainly down the straights because of the ERS advantage. Yeah, I mean, the main place for Bonge to gain time is the S section. I mean, look at that, four attempts through that section alone. 3 attempts, he loses a bit on exit, but I don't think it's possible for him. He'll be pushing as hard as he can. I'll give it all he's got. I'm sure there's always the chance that Rodin makes a mistake. He will be struggling. There's always a chance he could spin. He's not even flat through turn 12, which I don't blame him for. He's playing it so safe at the moment. I reckon he could be flat, definitely, but he's obviously confident that he's got the gap to drive slower, which he definitely has. Looking further back at this little battle for P3 now. It used to be P2 and P3, now it's P3 and P4. Ruxian using every last drop of his ERS, trying to just stay within the 1 second, which he is managing to do. As yeah, Funky's just reminded me in chat actually, what's your guys' drive of the day? Ultimately, I think it does come down to me, but I'll be heavily influenced by you guys. Funky says it will be Ruck's driver of the day. That's what he thinks, but I don't want to know what the rest of you do. To be honest with you, I think at the moment, Bonge. I think Ruxian's driven well, but I think Bonge is just driven better. He's 5 positions up at the moment. And where he was, he's pulled off a 2-stopper in a league race, which is really hard to do. He won't be able to get the win unless Rodin makes a massive mistake. But maybe Ruxian will change my mind if he does land himself on the podium. Just to point out, there won't be any interviews, as I do have to get going for Division 1, and I'm pretty sure we don't do them anymore anyway. So there won't be any interviews. I will just be shooting off straight away. Ruxian has lost a 10th to Rabbit, but he still has the DRS, which is crucial. We are on lap 28, or we're about to hit lap 28. So we're running out of time, and Ruxian for some reason is using his ERS now, which he doesn't really need to do. He's now got 0%. Not really catching by as much as he could. Does a little twitch to the right. I don't know if he was thinking about send. He's really far back if that's what he wants. Gets a really good exit out of turn 1 though. he won't be close enough into turn 4. So it's probably going to have to be a last lap overtake for Ruxian, unless Rabbit makes some sort of mistake between now and turn 11. Teddy Ruxpin and 5 Crown are fighting position. I think 5 Crown just goes down the inside of Teddy. He gets the job done. Championship leader 5, not having the best of races, but he will retain his lead if it finishes like this. Although be it by a lot less of amount. He heavily defends the inside. That will enable Teddy on the softs to get a switch back, but he does decide to back out. Probably not the best idea to make the move into the S section. Going to come back on board with Ruxian. As he spun! The commentator, oh, Ruxian spun, and any chance of Mandara of the day vote is gone. Ruxian spun. Brenheimer says thank you very much, and so does Rabbit. His podium is now pretty much secured. Ruxian, who was probably close enough for an overtake, to be honest with you, into turn 1 on Rabbit, has spun, and he's now defending the inside to Halo. He's going to look round the outside. I think Halo will have DRS, so Ruxian's going to struggle now even to finish P5 after that. He was challenging for P3, tucking into the slipstream. This is the last lap, remember. Halo going to go round the outside. He's going to be ahead before the braking zone. Not really much challenge for him there to make the move, and Kip is looking as the move is. Oh, he gets all twitchy, makes contact. I reckon Kip, because of Ruxian's tyre, is going to be really hot. Kip could have made the move into turn 4, but no. He loses it on exit, and nothing doing for him. Rux's now only hope is turn 11 if he can stay close enough to Halo, but like I said before, his tyre temps are going to be quite high after the spin, and he's got to be careful not to have another one. Look at that, he's already going wide. Bonge has done a valiant effort to catch up to Rodin, 6.2 seconds the gap. Really good job from him. But we are approaching the end of the lap. We will ride with Ronin. He has dominated this race. A few incidents behind him, but that doesn't take anything away from his really amazing pace. He will come around the penultimate corner now. Just one more acceleration zone, and he's done it. Look how careful he was making sure not to spin. But he's done everything right today as Ronin. He's going to come across the line now, and he will win the Bahrain Grand Prix. Ronin dominates in the desert. Bonge comes across to finish P2. He will do a burnout across the line. Bonge, my driver of the day, definitely. Rabid comes across P3 after Ruxian had his spin. And Ruxian is now ahead. Ruxian's ahead. Ruxian with DRS is going to finish ahead of Kip. Oh, that was close. They were challenging each other into the last corner, but Ruxian stays ahead. Nicholas with the fastest lap. That won't matter. He is P14. Kip in P7, 5 crowns, the next one to cross the line. He's going to get pressure to Teddy, but he will ultimately win that battle. Yeah, P8 for 5, P9 for Teddy Ruxpin, and Lucas Fenn. Good drive from him to round off the points positions. It's just a singular point for him. Paper Stream not too far behind him. Will come across in P11. No points for his efforts, but a decent drive. Up 4 positions. Zombez, not the greatest racers, down 2 positions. He will come across the line and finish in P12. Tado will be the last to cross the line, take the checker flag in P13. So that's it then. That's the Bahrain Grand Prix, slightly delayed. Division 2 will be starting briefly. I will end the stream there, as no, we're not doing interviews anymore. Drive of the day given by the game is Bonge, and I do certainly agree. But thank you very much for watching, and make sure you do not go anywhere, as Division 1 is starting in just a few minutes' time.